Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of me streaming, implementing a bot to a game terminal that you can find here. If you missed the first stream, it isn't a big deal. Here in the first few minutes we will quickly go through the rules, the general idea for a game, and then we will go back to improving our bot from 2 days ago. Hello Rishabh. I see you every time. Did you miss a single stream of mine? Hi. The game...
Welcome.
It's a 2-player game. So again, a quick recap of what this game is about. It's a tower defense game for 2 players, when there is our half of map, of grid, and opponent's half, and we build towers to defend against opponent in our half, and also we buy minions, we buy units that go to enemy territory, try to destroy his towers and reach his side of map, his edges. Once our unit reaches opponent's edge, it hits him with 1 health point, and we get some money bonus for that. And the goal is to get your opponent's health from 30 to 0. Hello Jatin, hello Evgeny, Steven. Okay, so also about types of units, we have pink, EMP, and scrambler. Pink is fast unit that is very cheap. EMP is unit that has high range but is very fragile. And scrambler is a tank, so it has big amount of health points and it deals huge damage, but only to enemy units, not to towers. So EMP sounds like OP unit that has high range and can overrange anything and also destroy towers, but it's expensive. So pink and scrambler cost each 1 bit, so like 1 unit of money, and EMP is 3 times that. And towers, there are 3 types of towers. Filter is just like piece of wall, something that blocks your enemies and has health points 60. Encryptor is support tower that makes your units stronger, increases their health. So it's very important, I think, to use encryptors to boost EMPs because they are fragile. And we have destructors, that is the most important, I guess, tower that deals damage to your opponent. Sorry, to units that are sent by your opponent. But its range, so here we see 3.5, is slightly smaller than range of EMP, of high range unit. Okay, so this is the main thing, and also we don't control our units. Once we hire them, we hire units among our edge, and when we do that, they start following some pattern, some algorithm, basically trying to go to the opposite side. For example, when we hire a unit here, it will go in this direction, unless it's blocked. Then it will... there is an algorithm that it must follow. So we just choose where to put towers and where to hire units, and then a turn happens automatically. Hello Nicola. And okay, I have... so last time for sure we had a text file with notes, and we did some things already. So what we did was we improved the basic given algorithm to spawn units in one place, Put cheap walls in front of towers, we did that. Use support towers, we added those. And we have put a tank before our EMPs. So we did some pattern. Actually, we put 2 tanks. So tanks are cheap, and it doesn't cost us much to put a tank just before our range units, and they can absorb damage. They are stronger, and also if they encounter enemy units, they will deal huge damage to those. But there was a con of that. Well, some technical stuff. If we put them on one side, like if we put a tank here and EMP here, then they will not be just one unit, one cell behind each other. They will be 2 units apart. So because of that, we put them here. So this was some special hack, special fix, but it had its own disadvantages. That after passing through like the middle of grid, they will disperse. Tank will go in one direction and EMP will go in the other direction. It isn't very important now. And our important to-dos are defend corners, put support towers closer to passage, maybe remove or not create at all destructors on sites. Okay, so this, let's say that these are priority things for us to do. Later we'll recap also the rest of things. Let's see how my algos did from the previous stream. So when you submit an algo, then it plays some automatic matches and it gets elo. So our very basic algo, just a small improvement of the given starting algorithm, has elo below the default one. So elo 1500 is what you have at the beginning, and so it dropped a little bit, 1456. Then we had some improvement, and now our last version, the one with 2 tanks before EMPs, has 1525, and surprisingly version before that, so without tanks, has 1483, so much lower than that. So I submitted that just after a stream. It's surprising because in our own runs, this algorithm, I think each time lost against this one. So EMPs turned out to be stronger, or maybe it was because of lack of tanks, or maybe it was because this algorithm starts with EMPs from just random place in our edge, and sometimes it did some extra damage. There was also a small difference of where to put towers. So let's see one replay to remember what happens basically. So what are the names of our algos? 4 EMP against 5 tank, and in a moment we will be able to run a replay and to see what happens when we run these 2 algorithms against each other. So those 4 and 5, and here we see that 5 has better elo. They play for a lot of time, 80 rounds already, 90, so maybe they will play till the end of the game. 100 rounds, okay. We hit play. But so far I don't use headphones. Let's fast forward a little bit. And here we see that Pink sends tanks before his EMPs. but apparently this game so far no player managed to do any damage. And after that, once we are at this fixed position, I think it's very hard to either side to move forward with anything. So it's like nothing much happens, nobody is able to push through. So maybe a quick fix for us would be to add more support towers now, because now we see that both players have, well, blue one has much more cores, so also called metal thing that is used to build towers. So blue is able to now put a lot of support towers here to make his units much stronger. Pink, well, apparently pink almost every turn loses some towers and has to spend his metal, so he wouldn't be able to put so much more support towers. So here we see that if we add building extra support towers just to spend our metal, then blue would win in this game. And for sure it would also affect his elo. Here it would be better if he has some metal and can spend it as an extra. And also one not very important thing to remember is that if there is a tie, so the game lasts for 100 rounds, then a player who wins is that which used less computing time. But we shouldn't focus on that for now, because likely in most games we'll do some damage. Especially at the beginning, it's often possible to just push through with a lot of pings, with a lot of fast units. So let's put that as a note, unless I have that already. So in round 1, maybe it's better to just hire 15 or whatever the amount we can hire pings, instead of just focusing on destroying enemy towers, what we do with EMPs. Maybe it's better to make some damage, because it's very hard to stop a lot of pings in the first round where your defenses aren't very strong. Maybe the only way for that is to put a lot of walls and to like block them off completely. I'm not sure. And except for this recap today, I think we'll start with continuing watching games, some high-level games, to see what we should follow. So we started last time some old stream on Twitch from one of competitions, and we can continue those, watching those to see what people do. And also on the forum there is something like leaderboard matches, and we can watch matches of the best guys and to see what they do. What is your elo now? Okay, I showed that already. So, okay, let's move to watching leaderboard matches. So I have it open here. So it's staged from like almost a week ago. So right now, like, the situation is changed a little bit, but we see, I think by far the best algo with elo more than 100 over the second place. So let's watch him first of all. And we see his games. I think this number is the number of rounds the game lasted, so this should be the most interesting. If something lasted 5 turns, also it's valuable for us to watch, to see what he did to win so quickly or lose. But this game can be most interesting. So, Truth of Ktaje, or maybe Cthulhu, I don't know. is pink player. So we see that, let's put slower speed for now. In the first turn, what he does is he doesn't spend, I think, all the money. So he hired only 5 pings. Or maybe he does. Because we see 0 money here. Okay, because we have only 5. So in the first turn we can only hire 5. So he spends all of that for pings in this place. And also he starts with defending corners. So right now maybe good strategy against him is to try to start with some units, maybe pings here, and maybe they will go through this place and avoid these 2 towers. So of course it's easier to watch someone's strategy and to think about counter strategy, but the long-term goal for us is to try to make our program to understand that, and to we shouldn't just say if we play against this guy then put units here. We should do something like when we see a gap in the first turn here, then we can put a unit here. Not necessarily here, just a gap, a place where there are like, I don't know, 10 cells in a row that are not defended. Then we should go this way. But of course, like in the second turn, this gap will be covered much better. Okay, so first he defends corners and he puts a few pings here. Now he just added a second tower here, and he doesn't spend more money. He again hired a lot of pings, 8 of them, and now he just makes his middle stronger. And at the same time, let's see that he removed this single wall. And either it's, of course, it might be something that is not necessarily thought through, maybe just some random move, but since his elo is so big, it's better to try to understand what he does. So my guess is that here he understood that this cell is already blocked also by blue towers. So maybe he just removes that because he knows that this wall has no purpose. That would also be true for this wall. So maybe he just tries with one side. So he will get a little bit of metal back to build some more towers in the middle, because he sees that this is where game will happen, and so he doesn't need this tower for now. The other idea of mine is that he wants to go through this place. So maybe after he removes that, this place is empty, and now his units can go in this direction. And when, like, if so, a unit tries to get to the opponent's side, and if it's impossible, so if he himself blocks these places, then his units will try to go to as far away cell as possible. So this will be the only cell that is, from ping's perspective, so from this player, that is so far into enemy territory. Like, it's still our half, but his units will try to go here, and they will suicide here, blowing up blue towers. So if he indeed does that, it's a very smart strategy. Let's see. Maybe it's better to do it slower. Okay. So here we see that he also destroyed this place. And this place was destroyed by enemy. And here he built it back, I think, and then destroyed again. So it doesn't seem to be so smart, or maybe his strategy changed. We see that also he enforced this place because it was destroyed before, and now he goes in this direction. With this destroyed wall, he showed his unit to go this direction. Okay. Now I don't know if it's a good thing to just hire 2 units, so I think this is a mistake. He should save money for later maybe. And he sees that he will keep pushing here, so he starts using support towers. A bit faster. And his opponent at the same time doesn't have so good place to attack. He keeps moving somewhere around here, and it's not focused, and he doesn't have support towers. And now I think it's a big mistake of blue that he again sent something in this direction. So this is, I think, the best guarded place of pinks, so it's bad to move here. It's even better to, well, maybe the best place to attack is here, but for sure it's not for sure, but I think it's impossible to break through this place. And well, pink has support towers, he's able to go through here. Now he just destroyed a lot of stuff here, so, and he has health advantage, so let's rush through the rest of the match. I see my video glitching. I don't know a reason for that. Does it glitch for a long time now? He's scanning the corners too and removing the wall to attack with EMPs for value of or pings for HP. Just started. Okay, I don't understand glitches. Maybe. Let's see if later we'll, for example, watch Twitch and code, and let's see if they appear again. Okay, so I can kill Gwake maybe. How to do it? Okay. I don't know how to do it, and something is frozen here. Anyway, okay, that's about this match. Let's also try closing this site in a moment and see if glitches still happen. And here, pink should win. Yeah. Okay. Let's see now if I just look at the chat. Does it glitch? It stopped. By the way, his starting strategy seems different now. Okay, is it possible for us to see some new match of his? And also let's see what is the current leaderboard, whether we still see him. But of course, if he had so big advantage, it isn't stupid to just focus on those matches of him from a week ago. Yeah, he's winning. Okay, let's see the quickest match of his. So here blue doesn't build defenses, and the first few waves of pings are able to go through. I wonder if in the first match we saw he also sends 5 pings every way, so he doesn't wait, he doesn't save for a big wave, instead he just pushes through. So things that are important to notice, to see in what scenarios can he adjust to understand what is possible to do. Let's see if the same was here. Here 5 pings. Those 5 pings were destroyed. And let's see. Why in the second round here he has 8 pings? He didn't do damage. He didn't do damage, so he should have the same amount of bits. He has 5 bits. And still it's round 1? Or does it display a wrong round number? Okay, first round is 0. Okay, so here his pings were killed in the first turn. In the second turn he didn't do anything. And then he had more pings in the next round. So things like that are good to be spotted and remembered. I had an old match with him. Are matches like that public? For example, can you share a link and we will be able to access that? Of course, if you want to share that. The problem is that he has like 5 algos uploaded, all named the same. Okay. But well, for sure matches we see now are valuable, and it's good to see what he does. Okay, so he is blue now. I wanted to say that he has completely different strategy. Okay, 5 pings in the first turn, they didn't go through, he doesn't send anything in the next turn, and he builds the same pattern of towers. Now he has put more pings. Okay, so now he does something different. Something triggered employing EMPs. Maybe he understands, or did he also hire EMPs in the first match? Yeah, I think so, because he started then to upgrade them with support towers. So yeah, those were EMPs. So here I don't know if it's a coincidence or something his program understood can be done. So with this pattern, when enemy defenses are here, his EMPs can go through this line, along this line, and destroy these towers without taking any damage. So nothing here can reach his EMP. And it's a lot of damage, and it's like a game-winning thing. So it must have a lot of sense to put towers like this, to have this third line thing. Now pings instead of EMPs. He made this side stronger. Pink seems to have a few support towers that he doesn't use, what is a waste of metal. I think if he now wants to attack here, he could even sell those support towers and put them here simply. So this EMP is going through here, wreak havoc in towers put in this line. So I think a good thing to copy is put your towers here. Also, one more thing to notice in this pattern is that he doesn't just put walls in one line and towers in the next line. He makes them like EMP wall sometimes. And here, maybe not every, but some towers have an extra block here. So maybe just to defend them, like to make because these walls are cheaper, so it's good to have them being destroyed instead of this tower. So it's something reasonable, maybe not necessary, but I think it's a good idea to copy this pattern and then to try experiment with sending offensive units. The link is the same, you'll just have to share the number at the end. Okay. He always destroys his towers when they are low HP. Okay. At one moment 2 days ago I thought that it's very good to destroy anything that is a bit destroyed, because you get full refund for that, like you get still half the money initially spent, but the formula is like you get half the money times the ratio, saying how much health points your tower still has. So it isn't that OP, but still maybe it's important to destroy a damaged tower in order to be able to replace it in the next turn, because otherwise when you have a place where a few of your towers are like heavily destroyed but still alive, maybe in the next turn your opponent will be able to go through there because he can quickly destroy them. A lot of guys are using the same strategy of defense and using EMP behind the towers to destroy enemy towers. Okay, so for sure my own strategy is very bad against this pattern, because I tried to put things here and I wouldn't achieve much. Okay, let's move to some coding. Let's move to some coding. So we had 5 tank, and let's copy that to 6. Let's call it 6-3. Okay, so here we want to, for starters, just copy this pattern. So this is a thing with competitions like this. If you see what your opponents do and a competition lasts for weeks, what you should do is copy the best one and try to beat him. Like, not really try to implement the same algorithm, because likely that person already spent a lot of time on that, and you won't necessarily do something smarter than him. But what is important to do is to try to counter that. Also, because a lot of people should try to copy this algorithm, this pattern, so you should expect a lot of people in the top to just use something like this. So first, let's implement an algorithm that uses this pattern. Then we will experiment a bit with that, and we'll do some a bit smarter things with our units. And then we'll try to implement a new algorithm that will try to beat this one. Maybe losing against older algos, but just it's to understand the game better and to maybe notice some nice patterns, tricks, like ways to write something smart. Okay, so here we have a function built to lines, and we'll change that. So in the first turn we just do something like this. We have it's also important to decide if something here will be destroyed. Do we try to first reconstruct that, or do we try to end a gap here and then reconstruct that? So far, let's just say that reconstructing is a top priority. So we will just to try build this tower, build these walls, and so on, and the same on the other side. Okay. So let's create a function, just build pattern, where we will copy this pattern. So I often refer to towers that do damage as just towers, and to these filters, so to these cheap towers, as walls. I think it's convenient. Okay, for tower location in 013 and 711, and instead of also putting coordinates of these two, let's say that the whole thing will be symmetric. So here let's say for mirror in false true. So x is tower log of 0, y is tower log of 1. If mirror then let's mirror the x, so 0 should become 27, and here let's try to build attempt spawn, how is called, destructor, xy. Okay. So let's run that. So in some JSON file we're able to turn on printing map in with our debugs. So let's change this to true. And now, when running our strategy, so terminal thanks free. Here we should see a map. Player 1 wins quickly, so something crashed. Okay, I didn't close a bracket. Okay, build to lines, I changed a name, and here I still run the old function. So build to lines changed to build pattern, and now something happens. So we see, I guess that df is destructor tower and it's built here and here. Looks reasonable. There is nothing on the other side. I wonder if it's destroyed or we never built that. run just the first turn. Okay, in the first turn it's here, so it's okay. So we have that, and now let's put some walls. So first walls here, 113, 213, and so on. Three 12, 411. And so here we will do a lot of mirroring when we try to build something and something on the other side. So let's create a function for that. Build with mirror that gets self game state unit type. Unit type. It could be a tower, so just something type. Unit type and location. And here we try to build unit type, unit time in this location, and also this location mirrored, so we have location of 0, 27 minus that, so this is x on the other side, and the same y. Now here it will be built with mirror, destruct self, Do I have to pass self? I'm not sure. Anyway, game state, destructor, and location. And here for wall location, in this, build with mirror. Filter, I think it's called, and wall location. Okay, I'm not sure how self works in Python, but I think I don't have to pass it here. Let's see if it compiles. Did not. Build with mirror is not defined. Why is it not defined? Maybe I have a typo? I don't think so. So maybe that's self thing. Do self function. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Zach, a lot. So it still says that algo strategy object has no attribute built with mirror. Okay, no, so now it's a type build. Now let's try. Okay, something happens. So let's put a few more walls. Thank you, Isaac, again for help. And here we have 411 to 611. And for x in range 4, 7, so from 4 to 6. Build with mirror, game state, filter. Now x and y will be equal to 11. The next one will be a distractor. Seven 11. And let's run that. But let's put 6.3 to be first one, and this time let's see a replay on the website to see if for sure everything happens as we expect it to be. Okay. I think it's exactly the pattern that we wanted to achieve, and indeed it mirrors well. If something is destroyed, now I expect some rebuilds here. Yeah, it's okay. So let's finish the pattern. Again by looking here. So we see a single wall already placed here. It isn't very important. Okay, so 2 distractors and a few walls. So let's put the distractors first. 9, 11 and 12. I see glitches again, and maybe I should minimize this because I see this terminal in background when it glitches. Okay, anyway, what we did here. Instead of a single distractor, let's just minimize the whole thing. For x in 7, I think it was 9 and 11. If not, I will fix that in a moment. We just put a distractor here. Now let's see, it was not 11, it was 12. Okay, and for x in remaining numbers, so here we built from 4 to 6, so now 8, 10, 11, I think. That should be fine. And yeah, we see now bigger line. We lost a game, so it was destroyed after some time, but it just work in progress. We can also add those few walls in front. So it was, I think, behind some of these ones. So for x in 9, 12, so these are walls in front of the structures. Maybe, just maybe, we will not want them at some moment. We'll just at some moment see whether they are good or bad for us. Okay, let's watch a replay. We don't have walls in front of the structures, so I made some mistake here. Yeah, it should be 12 instead of 11. And we should put something here. So here also I think 13 for one last wall, just to close everything. But let's see here, does he create a gap or not? Right now there is no gap at all except for this place. But for starters, let's just avoid this one. So for x equal to, or maybe just leave this gap. For us it will be like 2-space gap. Later we'll think about like covering this place and also maybe removing something here. Okay, let's fix the position of support towers. So now they should be maybe just instead of this x, let's just put them a bit to the right, and that should be fine. And here we'll put extra distractors. So here instead of 14 we want 15. Build support 15, or we can just say here build with mirror. Encryptor. Okay, we also need this, or we don't. So call first, so 12 and row. Okay, that should be fine. Let's also, why shouldn't we put a few more support towers like at the bottom? So instead of 4 here, let's for starters put 3. And let's see what happens now. Okay, and let's watch a replay. I didn't want this gap to be covered, this 13, 14. I think I decided after all not to do that. Okay, so let's remove 13. And let's rerun it, everything. Okay, it's done. Yeah, makes sense. So for sure we want more power here. So apart from support towers, I think it's a good thing to put a lot of distractors here. And maybe more support towers in like columns that would still reach our passage here. Of course, it isn't the whole defense algorithm of that guy copied, because he also then makes his corners stronger and maybe also adjusts to what his opponent does, how he sends units. But we will leave that for later. Hi Errichto, hello Boye. Also a question to those of you who play in this game, who have some algorithms submitted. What places, what elo do you have? Is some of you in like top 10? What is your current ranking in the leaderboard? Well, my ranking I think sucks. We can check that. So in leaderboard, in order to get to, can I see my? I think I didn't submit to the main competition, or did I? Competitions, joined. My elo is just slightly over 1500 with one of algos. I just don't know if I submitted unit here for this game. So if I put something here in my algos, is it then automatically in the main competition? Or should I do something extra? Because I have a few algos and I don't know if all of them play here. 6-3 might not work if someone continues to attack you on the corners. Yes, that's completely correct. So it's a huge thing for later to think about corners. I'm in top 20 now. Okay, congratulations, Jomkus. And how much time so far have you spent in this competition? I am the CJ1 in leaderboard, currently at 11th. Let's see. So just outside the top 10. Okay, congrats. Okay, and what else? Whom else do we have? But my algo didn't play with the best ones yet. I think I had a match with you. Yeah, for sure. If some of you are close to each other in the leaderboard, especially at the top, you should expect to have some matches against him. The algos are not that smart yet. They will be smarter with time, that's for sure. So what now? Some small things to do are to put more distractors here and to put more support towers here, but it's something that would make our algorithm stronger, our program stronger, but it's just a thing that we know, like, it's easy to be done. So let's just try to move to units and to maybe experiment with different things, or maybe let's focus on corners, because just like still hard coding new coordinates here will not give us much. So if opponent attacks us in a corner, let's just say that we want to make this corner stronger. That's for starters. So instead of just putting some towers here and some towers here, like in the same manner, instead we make stronger displays where we are being attacked. So here, when opponent behaves something like this one, and he attacks in the middle, then we want to make this place stronger automatically, and we want to somehow see if someone attacks us here. So for start, let's create a program that would attack us here. Or maybe we'll see something like this among bosses. It is sometime already when we played against a boss. So my algos, I must submit a new algo. It will compile for a little bit, and then we'll run it against some bosses. Let's try to see something that attacks through corners. Maybe some of the last bosses will do that. So I've run those number 11 and 12. Here, blue one does something very similar to what we've just copied. But I think he will start attacking in the corner here. So blue, B12 is a good thing to practice against. And pink just goes through the middle for some time, and then sends his units there. Okay. I think that this strategy is a very bad idea, like this pattern, because you can't put support towers here to make your units strong when they are fighting. Like if you put support here, it will be less, like the bonus will be smaller once your units reach the enemy half. So I think nobody should make this pattern, like this isn't optimal, in my opinion. Okay, so we will be playing against B12. Let's see what happens. Sometimes website doesn't allow me to move between tabs. Okay, not by hand. My algos. So 6-3 against B12. Initiate. So pink first does a lot of damage against us with pinks, what is also a thing to remember, to maybe sometimes in the future use pinks, especially at the beginning. And here I expected something different. I expected attacks directly in the corner. Here they go through this place and like not really as much in the corner as possible, so here, but still it's fine to test. And for example, 10 pings here are hard to stop. I think the most dangerous thing is when something destroys at one of these wall towers, and then units, instead of going here for my defenses, like I wanted to put main defenses here, they will go here. So yeah, we see these towers being attacked or destroyed, so let's make them stronger. A bad thing is that here also EMP from here can reach these walls, and I don't really want to put destructors here because they would reach no one. So let's do something like this. If something is destroyed, for now. Let's try to put in the next turn a distractor behind this place. So this is our goal now. Something is destroyed. Try to create distractor. Okay. So our goal now, and we'll see against this algorithm how well it does. And notice that this is like very simple thing this is very simple concept, but sometimes you do very well with concepts like this because it makes a lot of sense. You can do, of course, some machine learning to maybe understand what is the probability that something will be useful in some place, but this simple idea should be not much worse than the best machine learning for that. Mine is quite low, but have a lot of work still to do. Jamkush, mine is only using pings. I didn't even implement attacking with AMPs. That's, I think, still very reasonable. Jamkush says check boss 5. He focuses on corners with tanks and EMPs. Okay, thanks. I have the same firewall structure as boss 12. Okay. Also, a question to those of you who participate here is, do you have some experience from other competitions like this? For example, Battlecode or some on-site competitions? I don't know, maybe StarCraft. I've never participated in those competitions, but I think there is a huge community around implementing AI for StarCraft. But I think it's much more complicated than what we do here. Well, a game is much more complicated. So you can just write something in 100 lines. Okay, let's move to the code. How to do that? We can check if something exists. So there was contains stationary unit function. So here, where is starter strategy? We should rename this one day because it isn't starter strategy anymore. But so let's say after building everything, let's gather towers. So let's gather all the positions where we have towers. How big a grid is? So 30 at most. So if some cell contains a tower, then to towers we append. I think this is how we do that. Append xy. Here we append xy. So let tower be an empty array first. Well, it's better to make it a dictionary, something where we can quickly look up if something was here, or maybe just two-dimensional Boolean array. So is tower false times 30 times 30. Can I write something like this? Do I create a two-dimensional array now? I have done highlight. The third one just started. What is highlight? AI Captain. Open source artificial intelligence challenge created by 2 Sigma. Okay, 2 Sigma sounds familiar. Highlight is a resource management game. Your goal is to build a bot that efficiently navigates the seas collecting highlight. Well, maybe I should know what is highlight. Okay, it's some mineral. A luminous energy resource. Okay, so it's until January 2019. You can build a bot in your preferred programming language. Okay, cool. It's always cool when you have this, like, you're able to choose. I think, like, maybe not in this week, but I will check it out. Sounds cool. I'm just trying to see if I see some familiar names. But not really. We have someone from Poland, Daniel Kukiela. Also, Ziomkuś sounds like a Polish name, so are you from Poland? Did you make a Discord server? No, I haven't. Either I will create one or I will ask owners of competitive programming Discord server to create like a sub-channel for me. So maybe I will start from that, because I don't really need a like whole Discord server. Thought about joining StarCraft AI competition, but it required too much effort to even see minor result. Yeah, I think it's a big issue with StarCraft. It's too big. You can't do anything much in like a day or a few days. Okay, Ziomkuś, are you from Warsaw or some other city? So I will check that later. And here, okay, I still don't know if this is a two-dimensional array. We'll see when I try to run it. And gather towers. This tower of xy is true. From Gdańsk. Okay. It's easy, and you can create your own bot using Python. That is easy. Rishabh, what are you talking about now? You're talking about the bot in some game or in Discord? This tower is true. Okay, so here I want this value to be true if at any moment in the past, so this is should be true if there was a tower at any moment, possibly in the past. So maybe it's good to name it was tower, but let's stay with is tower. Discord. Okay, I will look into that one day. Just it isn't something that sounds very cool to do. It's technical things. I prefer creating actual content, but I still think it's better for now to just create a sub-channel in competitive programming Discord. Okay, so it was gather towers, and now also self extra. So how to count? What we want is to make some places stronger. So let's say enforce distractions. Destroyed. Okay, this should be fine. enforce destroyed. So for all the cells, so let's actually create two arrays maybe. Because I also want to know if something was destroyed. If I rebuild some place, then I still want to make this place stronger, to put a tower behind it. So maybe something like this. And if there was a tower at some place, so let's change it to was tower. If there was a tower but there is none now, so now before building new towers, so gather towers, first destroyed, self, find destroyed, and destroyed, so if was tower and not there is no tower now, then do enforce of x y minus 1 is true. And here we don't want to do it for y equal to 0 because we would get out of boundaries here, so let's just start from 1. Okay, so we first found destroyed, then we built new towers, we gather towers to know in the future where towers were. So here it changed to was. Enforce destroyed. Okay, here if do enforce, let's try creating a destructor there. Unit type destructor, and location is just xy. Okay, and for now let's remove support, because we don't want it to conflict. We don't want to put some support where we want to make place stronger. Okay, so let's start with that. Also, a thing to remember now is that we not only follow pattern here, but we also can theoretically build new towers below that. So maybe we will block our attackers. So now a new thing is, now we should care about blocking our units with towers, because maybe we'll build more and more below, and eventually we will reach our own edge. Also, when we enforce destroyed, maybe let's not do it from left to right and then from bottom to top. Let's first build close to the front line. So first y in range from 30 to 1 with step -1, and then x. I think it should work. The map is 2828, by the way. Okay, I will keep using 30 for now. Well, one thing is that, of course, I can use a constant for this, but in fact, what should we do in a long run is to just know what cells are inside the map. So here I think it's better to once create like list of all the cells, and then and then iterate over that. But with loops I have more flexibility about order. But yeah, like 30 is easier to remember than 28. Okay, let's run that and let's see. Let's see if it crashes or where it crashes. Find destroyed is wrong, invalid syntax. I shouldn't put something here. 71. Where it crashes now. For in a type of bool object is not subscriptable. So I think I didn't create a two-dimensional array here. Let's see if it at least like compiles, Python compiles without that. Which line was it? 81. Would it theoretically work now? Non-type object is not iterable. Maybe it's bad that here I ask about something outside the map. I thought that it will be covered. Any ideas, guys? In the beginning you asked whether there were new matches of truth off, and yes there are in the forum in why the leaderboard will not change anytime soon. Okay, thank you, we've checked it out. So let's put that in notes. There is a function provided for that in the game map class for being in the map, inside the map, or what? And SIPs extra in on line 91, so this is something I removed. Okay. So Python think. Was tower. And same for doing force. Just filled with false instead of 0. '87. Still stationary unit thing. Okay, so I think I need a function for is inside, either my own or in from game. A function to be inside the map and also to get the edge locations. Okay, so it's in game map class. Let's find that. Docs. At the end. Game map module in area bounds. So def So now I check if it's inside. So I want to, instead of writing everywhere if it's inside and it contains a tower, I can just once do that. If game state in arena bounds of location and contains stationary unit of location, yeah, and that's it. And now I will use a function my contains tower. Okay, so here not contains tower. So this is a bit tricky here because this is true, value of this expression is true for locations outside the boundaries, but this will not be true. So if something is outside, this will not be even run. Okay, and here in gather towers, if so I need self here. Self my contains tower. Okay, what about now? Something is missing in man contains tower. Okay, in game state. A huge disadvantage of using a new language, for me Python, is that I don't really know how to work with those selves and game states. I would prefer, for now I treat game state like kind of a class or maybe namespace, but for sure self is annoying for me. I would prefer not to use it at all, but it isn't a big deal. Has no attribute in arena bounds, so a typo. Or is it a different class? So I should use what? GameState.gameMap. So it's from advanced game state. To make sure I'm not making a typo, 972. Yeah, it isn't a type. So here I should use something like advanced state. Any help, guys? Because game state is here, and it's game map, so it looks like I have to pass game map also up to the way here. From this I get game state, so I guess similarly I can get game map. Let's be, I don't know if I can make it global and not initialize it here. We'll try game map, because I don't want to pass it everywhere. Game map is an object stored in the game state. Okay. Okay, so in game state I have game map. So thank you, Isaac. Where did I create that? Here. So game state contains game map. Something like this. GameStat.GameMap. Okay, now we have a different error. Index out of range. In doing force 97. Okay, from it should be from 29. Yeah, something happens. Let's watch a replay. Thank you for help, and let's see. So this is something we want to stop. Leaderboard we can close. Just close. And we can make it faster. We just want to see if blue, if something is destroyed, tries to put more things behind it. So now, because we removed support towers, blue has a lot of metal, and yeah, we got an extra tower here. And now I expect a lot of towers here. Okay, makes a lot of sense. And now let's play, so let's submit that again and let's play against a few bosses to see if everything happens as we expect. So let's just overwrite that. Let's submit. On line 95 it should be range 29 -1 -1. I understand, Steven, like I also thought about that, but at some moment we said, oh, actually you're right, because I wanted it to be in range, I thought it should be in range 1 to 29, because before that, when we tried some cell, then we built in a cell below that, but actually here we built in this cell, so yeah, you're right. Thank you. Okay, let's play against some bosses. So someone recommended boss number 5. Because it attacks corners. and indeed it attacks corners. So far, blue tries to reconstruct everything he wants to build here, and only after that he will start enforcing this region. Maybe priority should be different. I think we should first make this region stronger. Okay, also another note for the future is to try to defend with tanks, because tanks are very strong against other units. So sometimes when we don't have enough metal for a lot of towers, we should put some units here and they will help us defend. Of course, now it's a lost game. Okay, and let's play against number 12, I think. It was also like attacking kind of an edge. I see glitches again. Maybe this will be better. Maybe next time I will try another browser, but on the other hand, I think somewhere in the forum it was said that only Chrome is supported. Okay, so we got new towers here. Was it because this was destroyed? Yeah. So these two are destroyed, and from now we will try putting anything here. A bit faster. And also these places will be supported more. Yeah. So maybe our algo isn't the best, but for sure it does what we wanted it to do. Of course, temporarily we removed support towers, so we have no chances at all to deal damage to an opponent like this. But that's okay, it's some progress. It's frustrating that I don't see play button when the window isn't full. So let's play against what? There was like champion algo here. So let's lose some game. Okay. What about, in order to defend against this ping attack like this, maybe it's enough to hire a single tank. So a tank costs only one unit, and maybe it's good enough to kill a few pings. We can try that later. So another idea hire some tanks. An issue with our algorithm about putting a destructor behind a place that is destroyed earlier is that it does nothing for this tower. So it's some issue, maybe not a very big one. Maybe instead of behind we should just try to do it somewhere close to this place. I wonder if we encounter a situation like this, now what would be the best way to attack this opponent, because like, his defenses look quite strong, and I think it would be best to attack just with EMPs, starting from any place, and then those EMPs outrange his towers, and then do some damage every turn. Maybe in the first turn we would destroy something here, then something here, and that's it. I don't think there is here some smart approach for that. Maybe it's good to start from here and to let your units to move here, so these towers don't reach this line. So an EMP moving through here would destroy everything here in the process. Well, these are some thoughts. But we see that 4 EMPs here without any support towers, so here, will not do much damage. They like destroyed 3 walls. Okay, another thing is that in this situation we shouldn't hire support towers here, shouldn't build them here. They should be always close to the place where like our units will go to cross the border between halves. So another thing to do. To build support towers where our units will go through, let's say, not necessarily in the middle. Okay. The stream will glitch whenever you leave too many replays open, no matter what the background is. Okay, it's okay, right now indeed I have 3 replays, so maybe now there would be no glitches if I closed 2. There are still glitches. One strange thing I had to do at the beginning was, I don't remember, enable or disable hardware support in Chrome in order for this game to work at all in my browser. So maybe that is an issue. Like, the power of CPU or GPU shouldn't be, because I don't think I have not enough resources. And it is frustrating for sure. Of course, like for your information, I don't see glitches on my own screen. I just see them on stream. So maybe changing frame rate, like in what quality I stream, would fix something. I will not experiment with that now, because I don't want to mess up with a stream. I will try to do that before Sunday. I believe the website uses WebGL, which probably is the problem. I don't know, maybe. It would be better to understand how to make some hack or fix for that. Okay, so what to do now? Of course, we have quite a lot of things. We can go through them to see what might be important. Okay, if something is destroyed, try to create the structure behind it in the next row. This is done. So this was some description. Defend corners. It's still to do, but not as much if we have this general idea of if destroyed, put something in behind. Put support towers closer to the passage. Yeah, this is related to our new information. Build support towers where our units go through. Okay. Maybe remove or not create at all destructors on sites. Well, it's still a valid thing, but not as important as previously, because right now our destructors are only in a few places. Previously we built a whole line of destructors. It was a lot of metal for that. So now I would put it at very low priority. Think how often to send waves using money. Well, this isn't important, much important. I think we do it quite well right now. So check if your units are blocked, maybe by our own towers. So far don't care about running time. Okay. So well, generally it's important where we start our units. So right now, because of implementing a tank, we always do it in far away in our own site. Maybe it's better to sometimes do that from a corner to do some damage to opponents' corners. Glitches only appear when a replay tab is currently shown, so as long as you move away from the tab while not watching, it should be fine. The area that glitches is not important for the replays. Yeah, I agree. I wonder what about, so that area I always saw at the top, so I expect now to see glitches again, but what about this amazing hack? Do I have, now will I get glitches at the top? Okay. I think I'm one of the best hackers in the world. So the issue was with top strip, so we just removed the top strip. I'm proud of myself. And I hope glitches will not return now. So of course it will be a bit annoying because I can't maximize screen again, but it should be fine, better than with glitches. So professional stream, here you go. Okay, this we don't need, neither this one. Back to our notes. Improve defenses, use not pink units. Well, these are two completely separate things. Oh, first, can we track units buffs? So here there are glitches while this window is in the background. So if it's in the foreground, it's okay. So maybe I should minimize it every time. Okay. Check if your units are blocked, maybe by our own towers. So far don't care about running time. Well, this is... let's remove that. We will not care about that for a long time. Check if your units are blocked, maybe by our own towers. Not important. Can we track units paths? Okay, also not important. Let's find something important maybe. Defend corners. Improve defenses. Well, what a general idea. Let's remove that. Use not pink units. Well, we sometimes want to use pinks, especially at the beginning. We have some note for that here. Oh yeah, we use a lot of pinks in round 1. So let's put that to the top of priorities. Well, not in round 1, but just in first few rounds. Maybe turn the debug map off, so it's just some, not idea, but info that we can turn that on and off, but let's say I remember that. EMPs are bulky, a lot of health in late game, many support towers. So yeah, this is important now for the very future, that I think if we have support towers, we stop needing tanks. Maybe, yeah. Because EMPs have a lot of health with support towers, and tank loses its advantage. Then it doesn't matter that it had 40. Still, it does a lot of damage to other units, but it's outranged and it can't do damage to towers. So, except for defending against enemy units, maybe even in that case, we shouldn't use tanks in late game. Next stream, watch other fights on Twitch. Yeah, we'll do that. Just, I don't need more ideas now, so I think that's the rest of Twitch will move to Sunday. Okay, you can go to forum and search for leaderboard matches. That was done and it's still open, possible to do. And leaderboard matches. Now we should care about blocking our units with towers. No, we shouldn't, and there was a note for that. Or did I remove it? Okay, anyway. In the beginning you asked whether there were new matches of Truth Off. Yes, they are. In the forum, in why the leaderboard will not change anytime soon. Okay, let's watch that. You still need to change the tab when coding, yes or that, yeah, or minimizing. Okay, so let's find that why the leaderboard will not change soon. All of the top algos are matched up against significantly worse opponents. The higher their elo, the lower their enemy's elo. While we already observed that there are no matches against equally strong algos, we can also see that they are sometimes facing horrible algos, which probably just crash and therefore have negative score. This sounds like a bug in pairing algos up. First of all, there are no rematches possible, which explains why Truth of is facing the worst enemies. Okay, it's very stupid if there are no rematches, because once you play with another strong algo, you are like forbidden to play again. I'm sure it should be changed, because after a few matches you already, so what, after 10 matches he can't practice anymore at all. I'm not trying to understand the graph for now, or maybe. Okay, so if I understand correctly, there are a lot of algos that just crash, so they are here, and a lot of algos slightly below 1500 and around that. So here with our 1500 plus epsilon we are here. That's something. Okay, so just rich will be richer and poor will be poorer. Okay, so the only new interesting matches will be when somebody new will appear in the top, then he can play against other top algos. Okay, so let's watch something. Previously this value was the average number of turns. Okay, so now apparently it's the average rating of his opponents, and yeah, indeed, most of his opponents are, well, bad algos. So let's watch a game against someone with some reasonable elo. Beginning maybe is good to be watched in slower speed. So as usual, those pings, I see the same formation as before. So here we saw in the past that this pattern is very bad against blue pattern because his EMPs can go here and destroy all the towers here. But on the other hand, pink can do the same. So I wonder what should be the strategy here, because if pink starts from this place with EMPs and they just move along this line, he will, like, symmetrically, he will destroy blue towers. 1, 2, 3, 4. If they move at the same time, then EMPs will fight against each other. Interesting. Okay. So now speed can be a bit better. I wonder why pink sends like 2 pings and then 1 EMP. Sounds bad. But his EMP does a lot of damage while going along the line. And blue just tries to fix damages, and he doesn't destroy towers. Yeah, he also destroys towers. So apparently below some half point threshold he destroys something and tries to build a new thing. So maybe this will be destroyed in the next turn because it's low on health, or not. 14 pings here. Okay, so the deciding move, well, still blue was winning in terms of health, but the deciding move happened here in a moment. Well, not by this bunch, but pings are very important to do damage when your opponent has some gaps in his defenses. But here, those 14 pings sent from here are able to go through these walls, these towers, are able to destroy this quickly, and once it's done, they don't have to go through this passage that is quite well defended. They just go quickly there. So pings can be powerful, and they are fast, so they can go through quicker while gaining less damage. Okay. Hi everyone, hello Redstonic. I see another person from Poland. Just go down in the topic. Maybe it's with that others can't copy the same algo. If you read the thread, they are actively developing the allow method. Lots of sets. Okay, so like I will not go through all the topic because it's boring for you to just hear me read everything, especially if you know some of that. I will read that later, like in the evening. But I'm glad they are working on that. So let's watch some match by another guy, maybe here. So we see that pink has the same or almost the same pattern that the truth of had. I think it's not, well, blue one also has a very similar pattern. I think blue has exactly the same pattern and pink has something different. And pink tries to every time go through this side. I wonder what is the reason for these walls. Maybe to stop enemy units, like instead of, yeah, okay, it makes sense. If enemy units go from here, then he doesn't want those to just get here and do him a lot of damage. He wants them to go through this way. And then he can do, his towers can attack them a bit more. What is a stranger idea is this line of walls, because I think they are too vulnerable. Or maybe it was an amazing idea, because now pink sent some EMPs along this line, and actually maybe this wasn't something for his defense, it was something thanks to what he can attack, because his EMPs just went through this line and destroyed almost everything here. So it's interesting that you can like increase your offensive abilities thanks to some walls close to the border. Okay. And now it isn't like important a lot, but I guess pink should once send a wave of pings of those strip units, and the game would be over. Instead, he all the time uses 2 EMPs, but it doesn't matter. Like in this situation, it's obvious anyway that he will win. Okay, it's time to go back to coding, I guess. Is it possible that we build an AI and use that for developing the turrets and pings? You should expect everything here to be a bunch of ifs. If you're saying that we should develop something that is very smart and itself tries to like understand where to use what, it usually will be a bunch of ifs. Whilst some of those ifs are more complicated than others. For example, you can try to find the best place with some algorithm. Well, maybe we say that if a tower is here, I give him like potential strength. I measure how useful it is in this place, in terms of like maybe how many units of enemy went through this place, something like that. And with this you choose the best place, but I don't expect anything like much more machine learning. I don't expect machine learning to be useful in this problem. Its access, you definitely can, but it is hard to get enough diverse data to evaluate whether it was good or not. This talked a little bit in the forums. Search machine learning. I can't post a link. Okay. I can post a link, but well, you can search yourself in that forum. You're watching one of my old algos play, and I was away. Oh, okay. So. So I guess by name that your algo was blue, testic. Am I right? So you said, I think, that you only use pings. Let's see. Yeah, it matches. Makes sense. So looks like pattern from the truth off and just using pings. So we discovered what is enough to get top 12. Top 20. Okay. So what to do now? This is easy to do, but not very interesting. So either we can try to put a support tower in a smart place, or we can try to understand if it's good to start with units from a corner. So I see two like interesting things to experiment with now. Either we sometimes try to hire units here or here, and we will put some ifs to see if it makes sense. Or let's try to put something in our program to understand where it's good to use support towers. So let's do some voting. So either support towers or offensive units with corners. So either support or corners. I don't even remember what this algo does exactly. It's like allo 1665. Okay. So this wasn't your best algo. Okay. It's a bit confusing that people have more than one thing in the leaderboard. So actually, possibly, I guess, we can see some match by the truth off, and it will be terrible because it's just not his best algo. I wonder how complicated the programs will be at the end of year, so in December, when the main competition will be ending. Because so far we shouldn't be very impressed, I guess. This isn't very complicated. Okay. So since we don't have any votes, I'm myself deciding that what is better. Well, let's try with support towers. So another thing to do is all matches you watched of truth off were of their best algo at the time, because the leaderboard only shows the best algo for each user. Okay. So let me sit straight, and let's now understand where to put support towers. Of course, if I just wanted to maximize my results in like 10 minutes, I would do this one, but this is much more interesting. It doesn't need to be complicated to get into top 10. I agree. But well, the goal, I guess the goal is to get top 1, and then we should experiment much more. So now let me let me open a match, and by looking at that, now it's a time to think a little bit and to invent some tricky ifs. So when I tried to make some region stronger, I think it was a good decision to put an extra distractor behind. And now, what about these support towers? So I think we can go through the previous few turns, and if our unit goes through some place, then we want to kind of mark this place to be, I don't know, visited by our units. Okay, so let's do some thinking. For example, it's not visible at all. Now it is. Strange. Okay, what I mean is that if our unit goes, for example, with, I don't know, this way, we want to mark everything surrounding that. So maybe I don't know, cells here and here, but also here, to be good for support towers. One issue is that it's hard to follow how your unit moved. I think it's impossible to just know, if I remember correctly. You can say if I'm wrong. And instead we have to simulate it ourselves. Will you try to achieve top 1 after Sunday? I think it would be too hard for me. Like, there is code ballot, yeah, challenge ending in like 1 week, and I think I need, like, I don't know, I would need something like 20 hours, I think, implementing things myself to get, I think, a good algorithm that could fight for top 1. So I will try to find time. You can use find path to edge. Yeah, there are some issues with that. When we decide about the next turn, so when we put towers and when we hire units, we don't know where our opponent puts his towers, and then the action phase happens, so units move, and then we can't So then we can't follow that, and when there is a new turn, we only know what is the new state. So some towers could be destroyed. So it isn't completely accurate. If you change the game state, it will take those changes into effect, but yeah, you can't know what the opponent will do. So I just wonder if it's possible to do what my opponent did for sure. What I mean that, what if my opponent I don't know, builds a new tower here and here, but then in my turn my units will destroy them. Will destroy like a few towers here, and then when a new turn comes, I think I don't know about the existence of those towers, so I don't understand correctly what was the path. Also, when I see a new state and, for example, some of my towers are destroyed, I shouldn't just consider this game state and to understand, okay, in the previous turn I started a unit here, so it apparently went here, because I don't know when this was destroyed. Maybe when my unit was here, this tower was still alive. So this seems like a big deal. By the way, I don't know about you, but I think this part is the coolest part of the whole of implementing a bot like that, to just analyze what we can do and how to do something. Like, implementation is usually boring. Watching some matches and thinking what others do are okay, but for example now, trying to understand how to put support towers, not hard coding that, this is something interesting to me. Okay, so maybe I should accept some mistakes and just take this new state and assume that this was the initial state in the previous turn, or I don't know, assume that nothing was destroyed, and then use this find path to edge thing. And then what I would do is I would, for every cell surrounding this path, I would, I don't know, increase its value by 1 for forever. I would store it for the whole game, and when I want to put a new support tower, I just choose the best cell, a cell with the biggest value. Also, this is finally a moment when I also must be careful when talking, because if I have really an amazing idea, then I can't talk about it on stream. So far I think I did obvious things, and I analyzed matches while watching and observed, okay, we can here attack in a corner, but here we start with something maybe too smart. So let's leave that as we can try to follow pattern of a unit and mark surrounding cells as cool to put a support tower. And we can choose the best of those. And also, let's say, either we can forbid putting support towers, let's say, in this region, because it's too far away from the front line, or we should just say that the later, when unit moves, with each move we say that it's closer to the front line. So with each move, let's say it increases the value if surrounding well, green cells by a bit more. For example, here we would get +1, here we would get plus well, maybe here plus 1.1, and here it would be plus, I don't know, 1.5, and so on. But on the other hand, we don't want to build later than along our lines of defense. So I think we should say that this is our line, because we fixed that. We say that this is all the time our defense line, so we only allow building support towers in this area. This is by far the most difficult thing I have been working with. Yeah, you can't make it perfect. I have a very similar implementation using the value method. It is very difficult to implement well and make it predictive, but a lot of fun. Well, I agree, it isn't easy. Do we have an algo on the leaderboard? If I remember correctly, Isaac said that he's far away in the leaderboard, but he has lots of things to work on still. So maybe we can expect him to appear in the top soon. Okay, by the way, I can tell you from what this idea comes. So this was actually from lectures from Battle Code. I can find them maybe. This is when I learned something similar. Okay, maybe it's removed. Maybe it's on YouTube. Okay, so there is a series of lectures. I will post here a link to the first one. You can check it out. And so they talk some basic stuff sometimes, and sometimes it's useful. For example, in that game, Battle Code game, you had to control your unit, and we didn't want units to move in one like closed place. We didn't want them to go into walls and stuff like that. And for example, if it's impossible to I don't know, there was some, let's say that this is a map, like red thing is our walls, and if a unit goes in this direction, it will see that it can go further. So the idea was that it leaves some stink. So we mark these cells are kind of bad, so that others wouldn't want to go along the same way. So generally, this way we avoid many units to go in the same direction, in the same place. Like we didn't want many units to reach this place, even though maybe this place could look like best one, maybe containing resources or being close or far away from the enemy. So we say that every unit leaves some stink. Also, maybe we can put some stink closer to walls, so that units should generally try to move like in the middle of every passage, not really along walls, because then they can be stuck more often. And with a lot of units going here, it would be like a very bad thing. And while of course this is not applicable here because we don't control units, like this is what gave me the idea for this. Like this is kind of an opposite of stink. This is like a nice smell. to that unit lives here in its surroundings, and then we know that these are important things for support tower. On the other hand, we can similarly do the same thing for enemy units, and to mark also to mark cells in surroundings of enemy paths, and we can mark those as cool for our distractors, for our towers. So I think this part is too hard to be done, even like in a month. It will still be better to make a fixed pattern. Maybe it would be okay if we got different maps. If, for example, some cells are blocked, then like the game would be much more difficult if some cells are blocked and you can't put towers there, because then your algo should be much more adaptive. So I don't know, maybe organizers said in one place in forum that they plan to still develop this game after December, so maybe they will introduce something like this, for example, and then patterns could lose its value because you should analyze the map. So this is some idea that is reasonable. I will not implement that because either I fail and it seems stupid, or it turns out to be good and I don't want to just give away a very useful thing for everybody, but you're free to try that. I will also try that. So maybe one day from my algo and my matches you will understand if I do that. And I can say if it's fine or not. But this thing with increasing values makes a lot of sense to me, and if we make this line of defense as border, then support towers should be produced automatically close to like front line and close to the some passage where units go through. Also, on the other hand, these places are very valuable for our distractors, so maybe we shouldn't put support towers very close to the front line because we want some distractors there. So it's something to decide about. I just had some realizations and had to shift strategies. I had that original one that deleted all of its walls, which was an accident. Lol. Okay, so you mean that I remember watching some match with a strategy that deleted everything in the second turn. I think it was on Twitch. So was it you, or you're talking about some different program? Okay, so with this like beautiful analysis, I think we will be finishing today's stream. So I will think about that till Sunday. So we still have a lot of ideas here. So as you can see, it isn't an issue for us here to like not to know what to do. And yeah, so this seems like a big deal. Then use a lot of pings in the first few rounds, yeah, maybe even in the whole game, or maybe when in the beginning and also when your opponent is low on health. And the other thing will be, like the second possible thing will be higher EMPs in the corner. So maybe it's good to sometimes higher EMPs here to do some damage to enemy corner, to at least to make him pay for that, because it's also some advantage for us. Okay, so that's it. Will you do competitive programming stream too? Not in this week, because this week I'm streaming this terminal game, so maybe next one. But yeah, I will be doing some competitive programming stream. Okay, if you have any final questions now, you can ask them. So today I'm going to watch this topic, I think, the one. So there was a topic, yeah, why there will be no changes in the leaderboard soon. So I'm going to read that. Maybe let's put a note for myself. Read the topic. Why no changes in the leaderboard soon. I will try also investigate glitches. So moving browser a bit below was a good fix, but maybe it's possible to be done more professionally. So I will try to do that before Sunday, and also I will think what I can do about that. And now on Sunday I must think what I can show to people, like not to spoil too much. But well, so far my algo isn't the best, but this stream is mainly about helping people to start and showing some intuition, sharing some thoughts, like showing what you can think about and how you can analyze other matches, what you should do, how can your workflow look like. So I hope you like this format. Thank you a lot for watching, and see you Sunday a bit later, because it will be 6 p.m. You will see countdown in my YouTube channel. Thank you also for all the comments and the discussion and some help with Python. Bye bye.